Welcome to the 2016 Japanese Grand Prix preview. This is the 42nd running of this Grand Prix, and it is going to be round 17 of the 2016 Formula 1 season. The Japanese Grand Prix, held at the Suzuka circuit, is the only figure 8 circuit on the F1 calendar, and the drivers have to consist of over 18 corners of this absolutely magnificent circuit that has been here since 1963. Circuit length is about 5.8 kilometres, race length will be over 307 kilometres, and the race will be consisted of over 53 laps. Many drivers have won titles here at the circuit in the past, latest being Sebastian Vettel. I don't think anyone will win the title here, but the constructors could be wrapped up this weekend if the Mercedes do get a 1-2, and if last race has to come anything by, I think we could be in for a treat. I'm obviously on about Lewis Hamilton, what happened to him, but yeah, what can Mercedes do this weekend?
Well, the funny thing is that me and JT didn't even bother reviewing Mercedes and seeing what they could do for a weekend because they were just dominant. But we have to, obviously, after what had happened. So Lewis Hamilton, obviously, after his blowout in Malaysia. Now, the worrying thing about Lewis is that what he said is it's not just I retired from the race, I didn't get any points, my teammates ran in the distance, but I'll just go back. I'll have a few, obviously, between the transition between Malaysia and Japan, I'll just have a few days travelling, I'll just, get my thoughts together and then go back to race. Yeah. Obviously, the things about engine tokens and things like that. So there's a big certainty, almost a certainty, that he will take a penalty this weekend and obviously probably weekends to come and things like that, because obviously of an engine blowout, and they've used all the tokens. Obviously they released that around Germany time, and obviously that's why obviously Germany last race the first half of the season, first race in the second half of the season was Belgium, and then he had I think it was about 80 place grid penalty, went to the back of the grid. So it's not looking good for Lewis, and that could be the thing that really hurts him, because we all know he's a very strong driver, and if it was just him driving his Mercedes with no problems like Nico's, he probably would beat Nico, because he is a better driver. Unfortunately, I know obviously it's good for us because we're British, but if people are sick of seeing Lewis Hamilton on the top, then unfortunately that's the realism of it. I think he's a better driver than Nico. JT agrees, and that's the thing. But it's not playing into Lewis Hamilton's favour so much. But obviously, on the other hand, Nico Rosberg absolutely amazing. So he has a 23-point lead, and he's unstoppable. So he's managing the car and the consistency and the things like that, like reliability and the team working behind him. But he's also obviously a very strong driver. He's, as JT said, he's very close to breaking a second record this year. Obviously, remember, he already had his first, which he might have 7 in a row earlier on this year. Leading the World Championship in the best position since he was in 2014, which obviously was when he was battling Lewis for the championship lead, and then obviously the championship title. But yeah, so Nico was doing very, 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 very well, and this race could almost make and break that. For example, we saw that in Malaysia. Obviously, you remember in the first corner incident when Nico was spun. We thought that obviously that could be the end of Nico Rosberg's title fight. We were wrong, because obviously he climbed back. Even if Lewis didn't have that engine blowout, Nico would have still been in the fight. He'd still got points and all of that. So, but obviously that happened. So, it is very much make or break, and I'm really excited to see what can happen with that. So, JT, with obviously Nico Rosberg, he's gunning for the World Championship. He's on best form of his life. Do you think this is like a make or break race for him? Do you think it's almost going to be won or lost at this race?
I would definitely agree with you there, LC, because what happened in the last Grand Prix, obviously with Lewis Hamilton's engine blowing up, really, that's just massive dent on his hopes as well. With Rosberg spinning at the start, it couldn't have been any better for Hamilton to extend the lead at the top. And to be fair, it didn't really go that way. Rosberg stayed in the race, 23-point lead. That's more or less a win away. And Nico Rosberg, he needs to focus and get as far ahead from Lewis Hamilton, because if Lewis Hamilton has another problem this weekend and Rosberg goes on to say win the race going P2, then I think it's going to be Rosberg's title to lose in a way, because he's going to be so far ahead. Hamilton has to do a lot of catching up to do. He's already done it at the start of the season, but there's it's the latter stages of the season, fatigue will be shown, he'll be tired, and obviously we're going to a couple of these countries where it's going to be hot as well, so obviously lack of concentration is going to be very, very common there as well. So I think Lewis Hamilton, he needs to focus and get the job done, get ahead of Rosberg, make sure he's behind him at all times, out-qualify him, out-race him, make sure that the car is spick and span this weekend, because it's going to be a critical Grand Prix, not only for Hamilton but also for Rosberg as well, because Rosberg, He's lost out Hamilton 2 years in a row. He doesn't want to do it a third time. He's got a really good advantage. He needs to be on form. So speaking of form, anyways, the next thing we're going to move on to is Red Bull, who did an absolutely fantastic display in the last Grand Prix, 1 and 2. That hasn't happened in a long time, by the way, hasn't it, LC? Because Daniel Ricciardo winning the race, finally he's won a race, absolutely amazing. And to make things even better for him, he dedicated the win to the late Jules Bianchi, which is absolutely amazing tribute, very good friends as well. Max Verstappen came home in second place, a very, very solid performance from Red Bull. Christian Horner said that it's one of the best performances he has seen. Obviously, you remember the last time, one of the last times they got a 1-2 was at Malaysia 2013, and obviously that was all for the wrong reasons. Whereas now, that's been put aside, another 1-2 here, absolutely incredible. Yes, Lewis Hamilton did retire, but that's at the end of the day, somebody has to do it, and those two did. Daniel Ricciardo doing the shoey again, which is disgusting. They need to do that. So what are their chances this weekend? Well, obviously, figure of eight circuit, the only one on the calendar. Very, very technical circuit, very, very different to Malaysia. So almost like a street circuit in a way. I think people will compare it to a street circuit, how not as tight, but how bendy it is, and how obviously there's loads of corners and everything. And obviously that infamous 130R, can't wait to see cars going through that corner as well. Obviously Max Verstappen did an amazing overtake last year at 130R. I think it was on the Sauber of might be Nazareth, I think, I can't remember. A bit like what he did in Blanchimont. So again, Max Verstappen loves this circuit. So the chances for Red Bull this weekend, I really don't know, if I'm honest with you. I would probably say, again, better, the only team that could beat the Mercedes. I think they are going to do well. Again, threaten the Mercedes for a front row start in the race. Give them a bit of a nudge. Say, look, guys, we are here. We are here. We are going to scare you. We're going to, intimidate you. Yes, we're not going to win constructors, but let's have a bit of fun and just let's see how far we can push the boundaries out as well. Daniel Ricciardo will be coming into this Grand Prix weekend full of momentum, full of confidence, and hopefully, and maybe, I don't know, maybe win another race. And I actually have worked it out that if Nico Rosberg retires in every single race and Hamilton retires in every single race, if Daniel Ricciardo, say, wins the next four races, I think he wins the championship. So who knows, LC? Who knows? Max Verstappen obviously nowhere to be seen in the title race, but obviously next year I think that will be absolutely fantastic. Again, good showing for him. Good showing from him this weekend should do the trick. Obviously, absolutely fantastic driver, as he did show here last year. So LC, what obviously your Red Bull, your team. Yeah. What are the chances? What are the chances? Not
idea.
What's going on there?
I mean, yeah, obviously Daniel, amazing, best of the rest. So 61 points behind Hamilton. Behind Lewis Hamilton, second place. So he's best of the rest. He should have won the World Championship if Mercedes weren't in there. And I've always said, and obviously JT's just said as well, Max Verstappen, he's done so well to get the points that he had. But remember, he was at a 4-race deficit, obviously racing for Toro Rosso for the first 4 races, which was a real shame. Next year is going to be better from him because he starts obviously Australia onwards, like obviously every single driver does. But yeah, it's going to be really good. They're both going to be on the highs of their life. I mean, obviously Daniel Ricciardo, he knows that he's won. Absolutely amazing. Obviously, he did that. Remember when he won? I know obviously there was a summer break, but remember he won in Hungary in 2014, and then he won in Belgium 2014. Technically, that's a back-to-back. So he could do this, and obviously that would be absolutely amazing. Red Bull and Suzuka go hand in hand, really. I mean, I know I'm talking about Sebastian Vettel, obviously. At Suzuka, I remember he took his World Championship here. It was a fantastic race at that. Obviously, Jenson Button won the race, but again, Seb, just one of them. I think it was probably one of Seb's better races to remember. And yeah, they've done really, really well around here. It's strategy, but also using an example. Obviously, for example, like tracks like Austria, the Red Bull Ring. That was a very easy name. I don't know why I forgot that. And they do really well around there because it's a very tight technical circuit, and that's what Suzuka is. I mean, obviously all the corners just come in very sweeping and stuff like that. As JT said, it's a figure of 8. It's very hard. You've got the crossover. It is so hard. It's a tight track. Obviously, it's make a mistake and you're off into the gravel. There's absolutely no way around it. I mean, yeah, they should be on for an amazing race, those two Red Bull drivers. They didn't do very well last year, obviously. Remember, we had Daniel Kvyat's crash. I forgot more. I think it was a practice session, but obviously that was a big one, and that kind of qualifying.
Q1 or Q2, I think.
And that took a big hit, obviously, towards his race, and they didn't do very well. But it will be nice to see what will happen this time. Max Verstappen had a good race for Toro Rosso last time, but obviously now driving for Red Bull, better driver. He's 19 years old, and he has got many podiums behind him. Almost in a race win, and almost a second race win, which obviously that was just one of them things. It was like, if Verstappen was ahead, he would have. If Verstappen was ahead, obviously his second place, behind Hamilton, when the engine blowout happened, he would have taken the lead, and vice versa. Obviously, what happened with Daniel, I think it wasn't going to be like a multi-21 incident where obviously Verstappen would have then caught up to Ricciardo and gone, no, get out of the way, I want the win. But we never know. I mean, obviously, as JD said, and obviously as I said in the review as well, it was classed a bit like a multi-21 part 2. But obviously, this one had a much happier ending. It's just really amazing to see, really. But there's not much to say about Red Bull around here. Just it's almost like they have 2 new drivers. They're just newly developed, really. They've just got a new mindset on them. And as I say now, they both have win this year, which is absolutely amazing. Obviously, as you know, there was only 2 teams to win this year, and that was Red Bull and Mercedes. Both Mercedes have won a race, and now both Red Bulls have had a race. So it's like 2-2, very evenly. Obviously, talking about a team who should have won a race this year but haven't, is Scuderia Ferrari. Now, I mean, come on, where do you even start with them? They've been showing progress, but no, they haven't, because Raikkonen's always been the man. We always call Nico Hülkenberg the Mr. Neely man, alright? But I think Raikkonen's Mr. Neely man, just an improved, like Sir Neely man, because he is really. I mean, obviously Sebastian Vettel has fell a lot this year. He's had more retirements than I think you could count on one hand. He had when he was driving for Red Bull and things like that. He's had 3 retirements, all on the first lap. Obviously, they were all Bahrain, Russia, and then Malaysia. And then 2 of those occasions were when he was taken off by another driver. Obviously, Malaysia, remember, it was Max/Nico, and then obviously Russia, it was another Red Bull, but it was Daniel Kvyat. So yeah, Kimi's always been there. Good few podiums, which is really great to see. Obviously, again, loves this circuit. It's one of the old school circuits that he's driven on before. Sebastian Vettel doing well around here, but obviously last year's race wasn't really a shout-out race for him. Obviously, again, he was just coming off the ecstasy of his 3rd win in Singapore, but it was very kind of relaxed for them. Ferrari, not really lacking the pace, but they're just not up there with the main guns. I mean, they're busy fighting like Williams and all that, which they don't need to be. They can't afford to be doing. Obviously, strategy, as we know, is not very good, even though I think they are getting a better handle on it. So I mean, yeah, there's not really much to say about Ferrari other than I'd hope that obviously both in Q3, both in the points like they normally have, but a race win for Japan and then a race win for the end of the season, no, but definitely not for Japan. So I mean, JT, what do you think about Ferrari? What are their chances this week? And
very slim, I would say. I think every time they come up against teams like Red Bull and Mercedes, they just seem to bottle it. And it's just it shouldn't be that way. You know, a team like Ferrari, the massive success. They haven't won this Grand Prix since 2004, and that was when Michael Schumacher was at the helm. You know what I mean? So they've won this Grand Prix 7 times, and I don't think they're going to make it an 8th this weekend. So I mean, Sebastian Vettel very unlucky there. Obviously, unfortunately, retiring at the start. He could put a bit of a fight at some point. Obviously, when people are pitting and stuff. Kimi Raikkonen, I think he's going to be a bit quiet, but who can forget his amazing overtake on the first corner in 2005 against Fernando Alonso? That just proves how much talent he still has. Obviously, very fond memory of them. Many memories made at this circuit. Obviously, one of them will be always still in the back of his mind. So every time he's going in that corner, he'll be thinking, "Oh, I remember the good old days. Let's try and bring them back." And hopefully, that might give him some boost as well. In not only that, but also in the race. Sebastian, I can't see really Ferrari Q3. That's pretty much it, I would say. Nothing more. They might get a podium, depending how the race plans out. Because look at Malaysia, you don't know what's going to happen. So should maybe one of the Red Bulls fall out of place, maybe the Ferrari will be there to pick up the pieces. More Vettel than Raikkonen, but then again, Raikkonen on his day, when he's fully focused, got a car, he is not that bad. So the next thing we're going to move on to is a team who did very well at the last Grand Prix, is Force India. Now, Force India did absolutely tremendous things over in Malaysia, more or less securing 4th place in the constructors, very much ahead of Williams at the moment. Williams, who just aren't on form right now, they can't really compete. I think they got it was P5 and P7. I think they got. It was P6 and P8. I think it was for the Force Indians. Good haul of points as well. It's what they need. They need to secure 4th place. I mean, 4th place for a Force India, that is absolutely tremendous. Nowhere near the Ferraris, unfortunately, so they can't really challenge for 3rd. But they've also got to keep looking over their shoulder for the Williams drivers. Now, Sergio Perez is still uncertain about his future, as at the time of recording, by the way, because we do know that this week was going to be a very crucial week. So at the time of recording, we don't know what his future is going to be. So if this video does come out and something has been said, we don't know if we're honest. So
blame JT.
Exactly. We do apologise, but I'm pretty sure we would have discussed it as well. So let's see if something is said beforehand, and I think maybe he might settle on his mind, he might drive better. But if nothing has been said by the time the race happens, then I think it could be still on his mind or anything. It could be like, right, we need another week of contract talks and everything like that. So it is going to be a bit on his mind of Perez. So maybe that could affect him this weekend. Nico Hülkenberg, he's secure for next season. He's going to be fine. He's going to be driving well. So he's going to try and do the best he can for the team, develop onto next season as well, and try and get the highest they possibly can, get some good money and get some good investment, and hopefully charge on the bigger and better things next season. So probably maybe one in Q3, perhaps. I'd probably say one of them in Q2, possibly for the Force Indians. Qualifying pace isn't really that good, but when it comes to the race, that strategy is good, pit stops are good, the drivers are good. It's all that. Well, obviously that is the main thing, isn't it? On the race, that's where it all counts. So maybe Perez might finish high. I don't really know, if I'm honest with you. Depending on how his attitude is going into this race. So LC Force India, nowhere near Ferrari. Got to watch out for the Williams. Do you think they can extend the lead, or do you think maybe Williams can be like, you know what, guys? I think we know how yous work. Let's jump into it.
I think they'll extend the lead. I really do. Obviously, if you remember the 2015 Japanese Grand Prix, Nico Hülkenberg drove through an amazing 6th place, which was really amazing. As you said, JT, both Force Indias in the points in Malaysia, so they're doing really, really well. I think they can extend the lead. I don't know what it was, but I think it was like, I think Malaysia was almost that, right, okay, we've got to get our heads together because this is like make or break. But then now they're just going to be coasting into the lead. So I'm really looking forward to that, because Force India need to stay ahead of Williams there. Williams obviously doing fantastic, finishing very high up. I think they finished with a 3rd place in 2014 in the constructors. So it's incredibly high from them. So yeah, obviously Williams maybe falling a bit. Force India know that as soon as Williams aren't doing as well as they were before, that's when they need to go. Because Force India, I'd say they're probably the strongest that they've ever been in the whole, obviously since it was created in like 2005 or something, or 2006, 7, whatever. But since obviously Force India were around, I think this is probably the strongest they've ever had. And obviously talking about the drivers as well, this is this is the strongest that they've seen the drivers as well. Nico Hülkenberg, Mr. Nearly Man, but a very strong Nearly Man. Obviously, we all know that he's winner of Le Mans. Obviously, he's got his fingers in a few pies. He's got his fingers in Formula 1 and obviously the World Endurance Championship.
I hope they're clean.
And no one wants fingers in pies, but it's better. It's probably better than. Well, to be honest, man, it's probably on the scale of things, probably better than drinking out of a used shoe.
That is true. That is very true.
Every time I see Mark Webber now, I just think, ugh, how can you drink out of Daniel Ricciardo's shoe? And anyway, back on the topic, back on the Force India. So yeah, obviously they're the strongest that they've ever been so far. They've got one of the best cars on the grid. They are so strong, and I'm just so looking forward to what they can do. What they can do this weekend, I'd like it to be both in Q3, and I'd like them to be both in the points, like they were in Malaysia, because they've been on a good run so far. And yeah, they are a really strong team, and it is really amazing to see what they can do. Williams aren't as strong as they were, and Force India can capitalise on that. And if if Force India can get their 4th place, if they can stay there until Abu Dhabi, until everything's sorted, and that'll be a real boost. Also for the team, for the drivers, and also for just the generalisation of the team going forward. And this will really help, because, as JD said at time of recording, Sergio hasn't made up his mind yet. Even though it's very strange, because there is a contract. It's almost like he's 0.5 towards Force India, but then he's not. He's deciding what he wants to do, so he might say Force India, he might not. Malaysia's result, JT, I think that's almost convinced him, I want to stay. Yeah. If they had double DNFs, or if Williams went ahead, then Sergio would probably think, right, I'm gone. There's no way I'm staying. But I think now with their double points, and the team is ahead of Williams in the fight, in the all-important fight, I think now he's wanting to stay, which is going to be really, really good for them. So the next team to move on to is Williams. Now they are still a very strong team with 121 points, 3 points behind Force India in 5th place in the Constructors' Championship. Not where they want to be. They obviously want to be ahead, which they were at one point, but they've really slipped down. Malaysia was an average race for them, but now they're heading into basically what I would say is a very, very strong race for Williams. I said it in the review. I don't know if anyone heard it, but I said that Williams and Japan almost go hand in hand. Now, there isn't any amazing results from Williams over over the past. But obviously, remember Valtteri Bottas did get a 5th place here, which obviously was really amazing for that. He drove an amazing race because Japan is such a hard circuit. And at that point, he still was classed as, as a rookie. I think he joined, was Williams 2013, so he'd only been there 2 years, and he was growing with the team. So that was an amazing result from him. So yeah, I think the Williams are just a very strong team around here because again, they adopt Red Bull's kind of attitude. They've got they've got a car that's more aerodynamic in the corners and has more downforce, and that's what they suit in terms of the high end speed. Which is very strange because you think this time last year their car was very fast, and obviously because it was almost going fastest in the speed traps and all that. But I feel like this time the smaller technical tracks is where Williams will dominate more. They have more downforce, and they just seem to be a team that will be more suited to Suzuka. Obviously, their biggest fight is Force India. I mean, if they're looking at anything else this weekend, apart from Force India, apart from catching the team Force India, and obviously, catching the team and obviously marking the 2 drivers of Sergio and Nico, if they're not looking at that, then they're a very stupid team because that's what they need to be doing. They need to be watching those drivers, seeing what they're doing, almost mimicking them really. Obviously, so for example, a lot of teams do different strategies. I'm going off a bit of tangent here, but Mercedes they're going to straight a 3-stop. Red Bull try a 2-stop. They'll match it up. But I've got to say, if Pat Simmons or Rob Smedley or wherever, Claire Williams, finds out that they're doing a 3-stop, you do a 3-stop. If you find out Force India are doing a 3-stop, you do a 3-stop as well. You've got to match everything they're doing and just capitalise on it. You need to come out of this race ahead, both of your double driver points, so you can get ahead of them in the constructors. But if you're going to ask me, in my personal opinion, I don't think it's going to happen. Force India are on the time of their lives. They're so strong, the strongest they've ever been as a team, which I've just said earlier on. And yeah, I'm so excited to see what Force India can do. Williams, on the other hand, I have no idea. Obviously, Felipe Massa's on his way out. Maybe his mind isn't even in racing anymore because we saw in Malaysia he had a lonely figure. I think it was 13th place, so very low from him. So JT Williams, they've done well in the past, but I am writing them off for this race, especially against Force India.
Yeah, to be fair, I would too, LC, because Williams this season, as I said many times, it just hasn't been for them. This weekend isn't going to be the same, unfortunately. Force India have got the momentum, they've got the better drivers, in my opinion, they've got the better car, and the strongest that have looked this season, since they were started, obviously Force India, and Williams, as I said, the only thing that they've got to show for is the pit stop award. That's it. From a team like Williams, 3rd place the past 2 seasons. Now it looks like it's going to be a 5th place. That's a massive demotion. They need to sort it out. I think they have gave up for this season, and I think they're going to try and maybe be more ambitious towards next season's car because rules change and everything like that. So they want to do well. They want to kick on. Obviously, come back to the circuit. On the other hand, for Williams, it's always a good moment because Damon Hill won the championship here in 1996. Yeah. Obviously, Sky Sports pundit, he'll be coming back. And obviously, 20 years ago. Reminiscent of I took the championship here 26 years ago. 20 years ago. Obviously when Murray Walker, they got obviously very, very emotional. Very
where he had the lump in his throat.
Just to add to that collection. So that'll be the only thing Williams will be looking forward to this weekend, obviously. And then it's not going to happen for them, unfortunately. But who knows?
JT doesn't know.
So next thing, I don't know. LC doesn't know. So the next thing we're going to move on to is my team, McLaren, who did a fantastic showing in the last Grand Prix. Let's not forget, Alonso, all the way from the back of the grid, had a massive 50,000 grid penalty, whatever it was, all the way to P7, absolutely tremendous. Jensen Button had an absolutely fantastic race as well on his last occurrence at the Malaysian Grand Prix, and again, this potentially might be his last outing at the Japanese Grand Prix. Obviously, he's never won this Grand Prix, I don't believe. Actually, no, I think he won it.
2011.
He did. He won it in 2011. I keep thinking Sebastian Vettel won that race because he won the championship there. So obviously, I think people do forget that. So obviously, they're not going to win it this weekend. I hope it's going to be a good showing for these 2 drivers and maybe kick on and get some points. Try and get as many points as we can. Maybe try and catch teams above us if we can. Miles away from Toro Rosso as well. They're out of the picture. Yeah. They're not good whatsoever. No. So I am very excited for McLaren this weekend. The engine looks strong, the car looks strong, looks very reliable as well. Hopefully, if we have no penalties, we should have maybe at least another car into Q3. Jensen Button did well in qualified P9. But obviously, Q3 appearance is also very good for McLaren. Good for sponsorship as well. Good for advertising, and that's pretty much what McLaren need right now. in terms of the race, of my prediction, I think we'll get another double points because Alonso has seen that this car is the strongest it has been.
Yeah.
I think Jensen is very confident in the car. They trust it as well. The team seems to get the trust back within the drivers to like maybe to get the best they can out of it. Obviously, the two most experienced drivers, they know the circuit obviously very well. They've driven it all their careers. So obviously for the oldies out there, obviously for all the oldies, this should be a good weekend for them. So I'm predicting a double points for McLaren. I don't know whereabouts we'll finish. Could be like P10, P9, P P8, P7, you know, that type of thing. But I am predicting a good Grand. That'll be the day. What a 1-2 for McLaren. That would be the day. So LC, McLaren and Japan. What's going to happen? What is going to happen?
What I think is going to happen. Well, obviously Jensen Button does really love this track. I don't know what it is. I think it might be maybe because of his ex-wife, but he thinks that he loves this circuit. He loves Japan. Who doesn't? You know, I'd love to go to Japan one day. Obviously, me and JT talked about going to the 4 old tracks in Europe, but obviously we'd love to go to the old tracks in the world. Obviously, I think that's like think you've got like Brazil, Sao Paulo, and then Japan, and then I can't think of other ones, but obviously Suzuka is one of, I think that's just the biggest one. But being halfway around the world, it's a bit different to going to Silverstone and getting the train down. So Jensen Button really loves this circuit, he loves this track so much, obviously really great. I do remember when he won in 2011, that was a really, really great moment. Obviously Sebastian Vettel had won the championship, and it was great because it was almost like we forgot about that, and we could focus on Jensen winning, and obviously that was where his wife was there, and obviously his dad. So yeah, it was really great fun there. Obviously Fernando Alonso, he's done well over here in the past. I don't know why it always sticks. One of the big memories for Fernando Alonso, I don't know why it always sticks in, but when he was taken out, I think it was by Roman Grosjean. Yes, it was by Roman Grosjean in 2012, and obviously that actually, because obviously Roman Grosjean kind of ruined Fernando Alonso's chances of winning the title twice. Obviously, the first one being the biggest one, which was in Belgium. And the second one, he was just about to get it back. Like, I've climbed this mountain, and then Roman Grosjean was like there just to kick him back down. And obviously he took him out in the first corner.
Bye.
And because that was another thing I was going to say. Especially talking about Ferrari. I was going to say obviously because obviously Sebastian Vettel's first corner incidents is loads, but obviously Suzuka has a very tight because it's turn 1 is downhill, very shallow, loads of run affairs and gravel. So obviously as soon as you get one wheel on one tyre on the gravel, you're off. So obviously, I wonder what's going to happen there. There has to be a collision midfield or wherever, but obviously I'm not saying that'll be McLaren. But I'm just saying, obviously, I just remember that. So yeah, they've done well so far. Last year, both of them out the points, but obviously remember 2015 for McLaren was one of the worst years ever. And then JT, it also had probably one of the best radio messages from in 2015. And do you know what that was from Japan?
I don't.
It was GP2 engine. So that was because
one of the best moments.
Because obviously
for last season, probably the best moment McLaren had.
Apart from obviously the deck chair, which is, you know, I've got to say the deck chair is up there.
Incredible.
But obviously that was when he was getting passed on the main straight by even cars like Lotus and just embarrassing ones like looking over and going, "What you doing?" You know, getting passed by you.
And Sauber.
Sauber. Oh my god. Obviously, so anyway, McLaren doing very well. As JT said, in the constructors' championship, they are very safe where they are at the moment. Toro Rosso are nowhere, and that was helped because of their double point finish in this race, which was absolutely amazing. They did absolutely amazing for their double points. Really good. They're not in touching distance, which is really, really amazing by anyone that is trying to catch them. So they have ran, they're very much safe where they are, which is in 6th place, 62 points, and 47 is Toro Rosso, so that's a good, I can't do math in my head, that's about 18 points, I don't know, something like that, but they are very, very, very safe and looking very good. Anyway, so the next team to talk about is the one that's battling McLaren, and that is Toro Rosso, the team that uses a Ferrari engine. Now, I don't really know what to say about this team. They've had an alright run around here. Obviously, remember Daniel Kvyat, he drove for Red Bull Racing last year, had that big crash on the Saturday. Obviously, was almost terrible for the race. So really, there's not much to say after that. They didn't have a very good race, obviously both out of the points in Malaysia, the previous race. And where they are in the Constructors' Championship, obviously 47 points. They won't catch McLaren, and Haas, I don't think Haas won't catch them. To get to 28 points is absolutely unbelievable. But I think a few races ago I would have said Toro Rosso, they're going to get McLaren. They're almost sure to get McLaren. But as we've just said, a double points by the two McLaren drivers was absolutely amazing. So really, it's Toro Rosso. There's not much to say about them. So JT, Toro Rosso around this track. It's also the last year that they're going to be using the Ferrari-powered engine around tracks. We should keep that in mind. Maybe that would make things different.
Yes.
So what do you think Toro Rosso will do?
Yeah. I think Toro Rosso know that that they're not going to do much for the rest of this season. Obviously, the two drivers aren't really on good form. Unlike the start of the season, they had a good team, they had a good team spirit. Danny Kvyat came back in. It hasn't been the same since, in my opinion. No disrespect to Danny Kvyat, but losing a talent like Max Verstappen is always awful, in my opinion. They have moved on next season. They have pretty much gave up on all hopes of actually doing something this season, but. I don't think they'll have a strong drone. I think they'll have a Q1 and a Q1 default, then a Q2 default, in my opinion. One in Q1, one in Q2.
Yeah, who are you? Who's GT?
For them, but then again, who might I say? Who might I say? Exactly. But so next thing we're gonna move on to.
Haas.
Haas had absolutely fantastic show in the last Grand Prix, didn't they, LC? Oh, amazing! I mean, for example,
that's shown progression.
Gravel, and I seen one without a wheel. So, in my opinion, that is very progression. So at least that's one wheel, not like 2 or 3. You know what I mean? So at least has some priorities, right? But no, it was an absolutely terrible Grand Prix, if I'm honest with you, for Haas. And the form books haven't went Haas's way recently. Not since the start of the season. They're on a high, 28 points, eighth in the constructors. It's okay, better than no points, unlike your Caterhams and your HRTs and that. But I think Haas would have wanted more. But exactly, I think Haas would have wanted more. Next race is their home Grand Prix, so they'll be wanting to get this Grand Prix out of the way. Go to the next Grand Prix, which I think they'll be at their strongest. But for this weekend, I don't think they're going to do well. I think maybe Q2 appearance from Haas. At least one of them. I can't say any Q3 appearances, unfortunately. If there was one, it would be coming from in the hands of Romain Grosjean. So LC, you like Haas? What's your prediction on them? What are they going to do? What are they going to do?
Yeah. Haas always amazes. It's almost like having a kid who's very crap at sports. You always spurn them on anyway. They haven't really done anything. Obviously, as you know, Malaysia was a bad race from them, but the car reliability, the two drivers that they have, really great. Romain Grosjean's already been signed for Haas next year. Esteban Gutierrez is just about to put pen to paper. Again, he'll probably do it after this Grand Prix, or obviously the US Grand Prix, the home Grand Prix, even maybe the Mexican Grand Prix, because they've got time. They've got time to what they want to do. I mean, it's not. Yeah, it's not like Haas will have teams knocking at the drivers knocking at the door. Can I have a drive? Obviously. I'll go drive. So obviously, the Romain Grosjean, remember, is Australian Bahrain. That was ages ago. That was years ago now. Obviously Esteban Gutierrez, remember, got into Q3 in Italy, and then since then, that's probably the only good thing that you can think. Haas might do that again, but consistency isn't even there. It was Australia/Bahrain, after double points for Romain Grosjean. You thought they're going to be so consistent this year, but obviously it just shows that they're not. It's what can we talk about there? So that's about the same as Haas. I think double Q2 would be good. One driver in the points would be fantastic. Let's see if that'll happen again. It'll be in the shape, as JD said, of Romain Grosjean. So the next team to mention is Renault. Now, normally we don't talk about Renault. We have to this time because in the last 2 races they have scored points. I mean, come on. So obviously Singapore, as you know, came in the shape of K-Mag. Malaysia came in the shape of Julian Palmer. Absolutely amazing. But this race, I think they've had their 15 minutes of fame, because this race is not going to go their way. They're not going to do very well. They have 2 rookie drive. Well, K-Mag's still a rookie, I'd say. He's still a new team. Julian Palmer, they're not going to do very well around this track. If they could finish the race, that's going to be a positive for them. Watch them not finish the race, because that's hard to do. Remember, people think finishing the race, even out of the point, is bad, but finishing the race is hard. Obviously from experience.
Probably sit back at the garage, I would think. Obviously, look what happened to K-Mag in FP1 in the last Grand Prix. Obviously, his car went up in smoke, pretty much Renault season. The positive take from that was obviously Julian Palmer's scoring his first points as well. Obviously, congratulations to him. Yeah. British driver on our side. Absolutely fantastic to see. Good from Renault, but we've got 2 very good drivers in a car that is absolutely terrible right now. Renault in the V6 era have not. It just hasn't happened. Unlike past success, but I don't think they are going to do much this weekend. I think Q1 appearance from them I don't think they'll score points, but then again, I did say that in the last preview, and I was wrong. So let's just see how this goes for Renault. So the next team we're going to move on to is going to be Mana. But now I'm also going to throw Sauber into the ring because there's not much to talk about these. Let's come on guys, come in together. Buddies and that. So Mana, Sauber, Mana, that type of thing. So Mana, obviously, I'm not expecting much from them. Pascal Wehrlein has made about 4 appearances in Q2 this season. So obviously very strong from them. His teammate Esteban Ocon, very, very strange in the last Grand Prix. Double penalty for the same thing, speeding in the pit lane. So very, very strange about that. But that's in the past. Let him focus. Let him battle with his teammates. Let's see what it can do. Maybe it can score a point should the car progress well there. Who knows? Unlike the rivals Sauber, who sit pretty at the bottom, the strongest team in Formula 1 because they're lifting everybody up above them, have scored no points unfortunately. I don't think they're going to score points this weekend. Nil point unfortunately for Sauber. It is a bit of a shame, unfortunately, but well, a team like Sauber, bear in mind that they've got 1 race win under the belt back in the good old days with BMW 2007, 2008, them era, and then obviously times have gone by since. But never mind, poor old Sauber. But LC, Mana and Sauber. Do you honestly think that they can do something this weekend? Or
no and no. No and no.
Another Grand Prix just to
if one Mana could get into Q2, that would be amazing. Because Pascal Wehrlein, as you said, he's 4 times, so he's on a roll. Sauber, no. It's just going to be one of them things. You see the out section, Nasser, Ericsson, and then Ocon. You'll just see their names all the time, and then you'll see probably Wehrlein in until about 20 seconds to go, and you'll just sprint up to 15th or 14th or something like that. Bye bye. I'm leaving. Bye guys. So so that's them really. There's not much to say. But obviously the last thing we're going to do, me and JT, is give our predictions for Japan, which we didn't do in Malaysia. So we're going to do it for this race, obviously for Japan. But by the way, I already gave mine. I said it was going to be Ricciardo first, Verstappen second, and Rosberg third. So I was right, guys? You'll have to tell me was I right. So for this race, I am going to say Lewis Hamilton. Now, obviously, again, at time of recording, we don't know if he's had any penalties. He probably has. I've got to say, it's looking like it's going to be, because obviously he's used all of his tokens. Where's his engine going to come from? He can't run faster than Formula 1 cars. Well, Hamilton probably can. He probably thinks he can. With Roscoe just pulling him along. Depending on that, I think even if he's off on the back of the grid, I mean, Hamilton's got a chance. It's not a great circuit to overtake on Suzuka, but it's shown promise. Second place, I'm going to say Sebastian Vettel. Obviously, after his really bad retirement of Malaysia, he will want to do a great race. And again, he's shown promise around this track. Obviously, say lifting the 2011 title. And third place, I'm going to say a very consistent Max Verstappen. He's there, he's always on the podium, he is consistent, and that is amazing. Even if he didn't win a race, he's had many podiums, but obviously, the icing on the cake is he's won a race. So JT, what's your top 3 for Japan?
My top 3, I'm going to agree with first place, and I'm going to say Hamilton. He's won here the past 2 seasons, obviously. On his day, fantastic as well. It's just whenever something goes wrong for Hamilton, it always goes in Rosberg's favour. And I think that's going to be the same this weekend. Should Hamilton have any problems, that's when Rosberg. What? That's when Rosberg can come in at the picture. I'm not the only person to say that. So I think not Roscoe, but Rosberg, I think will be in P2. And obviously, I guess why, very fast cars there. Now P3 is always a tricky one for me, and I'm going to say Daniel Ricciardo. I'm not going to say Sebastian Vettel because I believe he has a 3-place grid penalty.
That's right, yeah.
For the Japanese Grand Prix that I've just been aware of. Obviously for that collision. Very, very mental, I think it was. And obviously, depending where he qualifies, obviously you have to go back three places. It might hinder his performances in the Grand Prix. But for P3 for me would be Daniel Ricciardo. Won the Grand Prix last race, coming into this race, full of hype, full of momentum. Let's hope the car goes well. Red Bull are the best of the rest, I would say. And that's pretty much it. I'll say that's my prediction. So I'm going to say Hamilton Q1, Hamilton P1, Rosberg P2. And then Ricciardo P3. Also, let us know your top 3 in the comment section below. So, guys, we're going to wrap up this preview of the Japanese Grand Prix. So, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like.